Coming up on the Suze Orman Show. Why I think every single one of you out there needs a living revocable trust. Also, a Suze follow-up. What was the hardest thing for you to do of all the things that I asked you to do?
Well, no doubt was discussing this with the kids in terms of their activities. It was difficult.
And you asked me, can I afford it?
I want to buy a Tesla Model S electric luxury car for $85,000.
Hi, everybody. I'm Suze Orman, and you are watching the Suze Orman Show. Tonight, I want to talk about trust or no trust. That is the question. Recently, I have been noticing that we've been getting a lot of emails. In fact, somebody even on my Twitter account said, Suze, really? Why do you tell everybody they need a revocable living trust? You're making it sound like everybody needs it, and you know, Suze Orman, that's not exactly true. Really, people? Really? It is true. And if you really understood how important a living revocable trust could be in your life, you would agree with me as well. Now, everybody knows that a will is simply a piece of paper that states where your assets are to go upon your death. All right. It doesn't do it in the most cost-effective way at all because every will has to go through a court procedure known as probate where a judge authenticates the will, which means that he makes sure that what you say is to happen is really the wishes of that person. It can cost probate fees. There are fees to file and so on and so forth. But let's just forget that for a second. A living revocable trust serves far more than just as a document that says where your assets are to go upon your death. It does that, and it does it in a very efficient way. It also serves, however, as the ability to take care of you while you are still alive when you can't take care of yourself, which is why I say every single one of you needs one. So what am I talking about here? Here you are, everything's great. You have a little money, you have debt, you have bills, whatever it may be. And maybe you're all by yourself. And now something happens and you have a stroke or an accident or you get ill, you become incapacitated. Here is the question at hand for you. Who is going to pay your bills? Who is going to write your checks for you when you can't do it yourself? A will isn't going to help you at all because a will is simply a document that says where your assets are to go upon your death. But a living revocable trust that has an incapacity clause in it, which a good revocable trust will have in it, says who can sign for you if you're incapacitated, and if somebody else has a trust, you could sign for them. Now, let's take an example. You're married, and you both have to work to pay the mortgage on your home. And you have your home held in joint tenancy with right of survivorship. Most lawyers would say to you, you don't need a trust because upon your death, the house immediately goes to the survivor. No probate, who cares? Again, listen to me. So here you are, your house is in joint tenancy with right of survivorship, and one of you is incapacitated. Something happens, and now you have to sell that house because you can't afford the mortgage payments anymore. Can you sell it? No, you cannot, because if you own it in joint tenancy with right of survivorship, it will take both of your signatures to be able to sell it. If one of you is incapacitated, you can't sign for it. So now you're going to have to go down to court again, probate court, have your partner declared incompetent, get a conservatorship for them. That could cost you $5,000. And there you have just become, every year, a court report, which means the court wants to see what you're doing every year with that half of the money, the person who's incapacitated. If you simply had a living revocable trust with an incapacity clause in it, you two could have signed for each other just like that. There are so many reasons you need to have a living revocable trust. One last thing. Many of you naysayers out there will be, oh, Suze, why don't they just get a power of attorney for finances that says you could sign for each other? That's because, people, in case of an incapacity, most power of attorneys are null and void the day that that happens. If you want to be smart with your money, you would have a revocable living trust. Do you understand me, everybody? That is why I say all of you need one. Let's go to Ann in California. What's up?
Hi there, Susie. My dad is 71 years old, and his financial advisor created a trust for him years ago. And we just found out that that trust isn't in his name, but in the advisor's name. And his pension goes into the trust, and the advisor pays his bills from there. My dad wants to use his money, but he doesn't have access to his account. How do we fix this?
Really? Are you telling me that this trust, that this advisor is the owner of the trust, is the trustee of the trust, that your father has no say in this money whatsoever?
Yes, that's right. We didn't know that, but that's right.
And besides your father's pension that goes into this trust every single month, what else money is in this trust?
I don't know.
All right.
Either her money. We tried to go and get statements at the bank, and they told us, "Sorry, sir, your name isn't on the trust, so we can't give you anything."
Boy, we got a big problem here. We're going to have to think about this, because if your father was of sound mind when he signed everything over to this trust, and let's just hope that it's not an irrevocable trust, sometimes there's not a whole lot we can do. What I think we should do for you, because you're calling from California, is I'm going to give the name and the telephone number of a great trust lawyer in California for you to contact, for you to actually have her try to undo what's been done. But it's really a shame that this is happening. Have you tried, I just have to ask, have you even tried to ask the financial advisor to sign everything back over to you?
We haven't yet, because she's been doing it for so long that we're scared. We're scared to tip her off. I'm scared. We're so freaked out by her, and she's so nasty to my dad. She's just very nasty to both of my parents, actually, and kind of scared of her, honestly.
Do you have any thoughts that maybe she's misappropriating funds and doing something wrong with the money?
Yes.
You do. So we're going to connect you with a trust lawyer that hopefully can get this financial advisor off of this trust. Jason, boyfriend, are you out there?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight, Susie?
Great. You're coming to us from Tennessee. I love Tennessee. What do you got on your mind tonight?
My mother, who has had a past history of being very poor with her finances, has a credit card judgment on her since 2010. And she has not only asked me and my wife to lend her $4,000 to settle the judgment, but she has also asked us to co-sign on her mortgage, which we are very, and I emphasize very, reluctant to do. Susie, a little bit of background on me. I'm 37 years old, and my wife is the same age, and we have a young and growing family, and we're very frugal financially. We try to live by your principles, and they're very sound. My mother lays a lot of guilt trips on me for not giving her this money and not helping her out. And my question is, am I obligated as her only son to enable poor financial behavior?
No. If you had told me that your mother was sick and she really doesn't have the ability to work, and she's doing everything she can to get by, but she just can't make it because she's either older or ill or something, then I would say to you, Jason, you know what? It is your obligation to take care of your mama, to take care of your parents, because I believe that. But that's not what you said to me. What you said to me is she is fine except for poor financial behavior, so she is volunteering to spend money in a very unwise way. So if you really loved your mother, what you would say is no out of love for yourself and for her versus yes out of fear that she won't make you feel like her son anymore. She won't love you anymore. So I would stick by no, I am not going to help you. I love you, and that's why I'm not going to help you. Let's go to Cynthia in Texas. You are on the Suze Orman Show.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, girlfriend. What can I do for you tonight?
Well, I've been married for 13 years, and my husband, he's been in charge of our finances because he is the saver and I am the spender. But every year when we do our taxes, he has these papers where he's writing down these numbers about his dividends and his profit and losses, and we complete it on the tax forms. But he doesn't show me the statements. So I'm like, this year I said, I am not signing the taxes until you show me those statements. So the taxes are still sitting on the counter, and he won't show me. So how do I find out what kind of returns my husband is receiving?
Now, what's interesting is, why do you think that he doesn't want to show you?
Because he's making a lot of money.
And is he afraid that if you know how much money he's making, that you will want to spend more money? Is that the reason it is, isn't it? Because if you had a clue about how wealthy you really were, this spending that you're doing now would triple, and he's scared to death. So first of all, sign the tax return, because you don't want to keep that from, being processed. But, everybody has the right to ask for their copies of their tax returns. So you could either call up your accountant or even the IRS and eventually get a copy of it so that you can see how much money he's making. But truthfully, he might just be doing you a favor. Up next, a Suze follow-up. You're on the show with me. I tell you all of these things. You leave here, and how are you feeling when you're in the car driving now back home?
It was the kick that we needed.
And later, when wanting something, ask me, can I afford it?
I wanted to go on a 7-day cruise with my boyfriend.
And how are you going to pay for this?
Okay, well, I was concerned that maybe I wouldn't be approved, so I think what I would do is...
Welcome back, everybody, to a Suze follow-up. Tonight, I'm checking in on Dave. Dave was here last March. He and his wife, Sarah, wanted a big family, but they didn't financially plan for a big family. Now they have the 4 children they wanted and $40,000 of credit card debt that they didn't want. Here's a reminder of his first visit. You wanted a big family. Did you ever think really about if you could afford that family or not?
We had brief discussions about the finances that would be involved. I wouldn't say we actually sat down and really crunched numbers and really worked it out.
I know you think you've done a pretty good job getting by on the income that you bring in. Actually, Dave, you've done a lousy job.
Yeah.
You've been able to get by because things go on credit cards that pay for things that you don't have the money to. And when we went through all of your expenses, as you did, right, you are coming up with $200 a month short of you being able to really make your bills. First thing you're going to do is you're going to cut eating out. The $138 a month that you currently spend on vacations and gifts, gone. Now, you also belong to the Y. You have gymnastics, you have swimming. Sweetheart, that comes to $200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, this is the hardest one of all. Your kids can't afford to do those. Those are extracurricular activities.
I think the hardest part is going to be taking the activities off the table, especially swimming. My wife and I were both swimmers, and my oldest son absolutely loves being on swim team. That's going to be the toughest.
Dave, how are you, Dave? Welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me back.
Oh, so what happened? You're on the show with me. I tell you all of these things. You leave here, and how are you feeling when you're in the car driving now back home?
I was pumped, Suze, to be honest with you. I was immediately on the phone with Sarah. We were talking about some of the simple changes that you recommended. And we virtually, as soon as I got home, started making phone calls to cancel some of the insurance and get a hold of our credit cards. We did take advantage, after looking at the numbers, the long-term numbers, took advantage of some credit card transfers at 0%. So we have a number of months where we're not paying any interest on a couple of those high interest cards, which has been tremendous to see those balances going down. So when I left just a few short months ago, we were ready to go. It was the kick that we needed, and we're off and running and very, very happy about it.
And what was the hardest thing for you to do of all the things that I asked you to do?
Well, no doubt was discussing this with the kids in terms of their activities, especially swimming. We talked about that in the first interview. It was difficult. One fortunate thing that we do have is the support of our family. And one creative way that we have managed to keep the kids involved to some degree is, instead of gifts at birthdays and holidays, we've requested that our families consider giving the kids a gift of experience, as we call it. And, that's allowed our oldest son to continue swimming and, with swim lessons. Obviously, we can't do it every single session, but we do want to keep them involved to some degree, and our families have been a great support for that. But it takes the financial burden off of us.
So let's show everybody at home, really, how has your finances changed since the last time you were here? Back then, their monthly income was $6,874. They're now actually having $7,413 a month of income. So how was that possible?
Well, I think when I got home, we looked at opportunities that had presented themselves, but we hadn't really taken advantage of. I picked up some more tutoring hours. I also, since then, have secured another student or a couple students for next year.
It seems to me, I remember that Sarah, last time you were here, wasn't working. So is she working now? Is she part of this equation when it comes to bringing in money? What's she up to?
Absolutely. Going back to teaching in the middle of, toward the end of the school year was not an option per se, but as we talked about, we put our feelers out and things start to happen when you're really paying attention and when you kind of, as we say, put it out into the universe. Her cousin's wife is a coach out in California and a personal trainer, and got in touch with Sarah just about a month ago. And Sarah has started working with her as a coach, and she's just taken off with this. She's been very successful in just her first month, and we're excited about her potential in this business. And of course, it helps our family's bottom line, so it's really a win-win.
So besides the extra income, your monthly expenses have gone down considerably from $7,100 a month to $6,600. Now, when you came in here, you had a monthly deficit of $261. You now have a monthly excess of about $735. When you look at it, that's $1,000 a month difference. And that $1,000 a month can mean a whole lot over time. And Dave, right before you go, can you just tell the people at home who are in this exact same situation? They're maxed out on their credit cards. They're working as hard as they think they can work. Right. They're budgeting as much as they think they can budget. Can you tell them something that might help them become like you and Sarah? What would you want to tell them?
I'd be happy to, and that's really why we wanted to be a part of this show, was to hopefully help somebody out there who's in a similar situation. There's always something that you can cut out. It doesn't have to be a negative experience either. Working together has been a huge part of our success thus far. As scary as it was for us initially, to actually just sit down and look at our big picture and all of our financials made it very clear the things that were necessary in our lives and things that were just there because we kind of liked them. And those are the easiest things to get rid of. And just small differences over time, as you said, can really make a huge impact.
Dave, thank you for coming back. Thank you for coming on the first time. Stay in touch if you need anything. We're right here for you.
Thank you, Suze.
All right, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Up next, you can't afford to miss. Can I afford it?
I want to buy a Fitbit Flex for $99.
It concerns me that you have $7,500 of student loan debt and a Can I Afford It Junior.
I would like to buy an Xbox 360.
Can you show me the money so I can see if you can afford it?
Okay.
Okay. what do you want to buy?
Tesla electric luxury car.
Cruise with my boyfriend.
Xbox 360.
It's that time again, the time of where you call in, you tell me what you want to buy, and I tell you if you can afford it or not. This is known as the Can I Afford It segment. So let's see if Mary, can you afford what you want to buy? How are you, girlfriend?
I am great. How are you, Susie?
Fabulous. What do you want to buy?
My fiance and I would like to take a 3-week honeymoon to Bora Bora, Australia, and New Zealand.
I have been to Bora Bora. Bora Bora has the most incredible snorkeling that you will see anywhere, because off of the Bora Bora, the Hotel Bora Bora, there's a perfect atoll. The most extraordinary, I've never seen anything like it in my life. I hope I get to approve you because it is so fabulous there. Show me the money.
Okay, our take-home income is $7,004, and that includes a rental.
Yeah,
Our expenses are $3,989.
yeah.
As far as our debt goes, we have 2 properties, and what we have left is $35K on a 15-year fixed and $27,000 on another 15-year fixed.
You're doing great for 27, yeah.
Thank you. And I also have $6,000 deferred student loan.
Yeah.
And savings, we have $35,000 liquid, $66,000 in investments, and $79,000 in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
So we're getting married next year, and what we're doing to pay for it is we're going to take out half from the investments when the CD matures, and then the other half, we both picked up part-time jobs, so we're going to save the other half for it from now to next year.
All right, so you're not going to be touching your liquid savings at all, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so
That
because,
remains
you know,
as an
I
emergency.
was about to deny you because $20,000 coming from liquid savings leaves you $15,000, and so then you are way short of what you need. But what concerns me here is your student loan, because you have $6,000 in deferment on a student loan, and somehow that concerns me. So I'm going to approve you, but only if you are willing between now and then to save the money to go and pay off that student loan in full. If you can do that, you're approved. If you cannot, you are denied, girlfriend. Jessica, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I love you, and I love your show.
Thank
for
you,
taking my call.
Jessica. What do you want to buy?
I want to buy a Tesla Model S electric luxury car for $85,000.
$85,000. Can you even get one of those? Aren't they all, the reservations are all taken up, or can you order these now?
No, I'm on the waiting list. I put down a deposit, but I'm just waiting for your approval.
Because I was going to say, how's she going to buy this? They're all taken. You already, before you called into the show, put down your $5,000.
It's fully refundable, so there's no money lost here.
All right. So you want this $85,000 car. So do I, just so you know. But anyway, show me the money.
Okay, I take home $8,240, which includes a loan repayment from a family member. My expenses are $6,882 a month, which includes quarterly withholdings for next year's tax bill.
Great.
I don't have any debt except for a mortgage, and it's $280,000 at a 30-year fix. I have $206,000 in liquid savings, $28,000 in investments, and $139,000 in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
Well, I'm going to put down $25,000 for my liquid savings and finance the rest. And my plan is to pay off the loan early like I did with my other cars.
So you're essentially going to pay for this from your liquid savings and really not finance it over more than 3 years. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
All right.
And
Girlfriend.
currently,
Yeah.
I have one more information.
Yeah,
to share with you.
yeah.
I currently spend $800 to $1,000 a month in gas. So the way I see it, over 6 years, this car will pay for itself just in gas money.
And so therefore, I see it that way too. You have been approved.
Yay!
Not so much because you're going to save the money in gas. The truth of the matter is at 36, you have the money to do this. Why not just buy it for cash to begin with and forget about financing it at all? That would be my advice to you. Amy, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I wanted to go on a 7-day cruise with my boyfriend.
For $3,500. How come you want to do that?
Well, because my boyfriend lives a couple hours away from me, and we've been seeing each other for a number of years. We don't get to see each other a whole lot, mostly just on weekends. And I have 2 adult kids that live at home with me, and I would just like to have a week away with my boyfriend.
I got it. So will that be the longest time you've ever spent together since you've been together?
Well, no, we have had other times that we've spent a week together.
Oh, you have that. You didn't spend $3,500 to do it, right?
Right.
Right. All right. Show
Right.
me the money, sweetheart.
Okay, my income is $3,072 a month.
Uh-huh.
My expenses are $2,848 a month. I still owe about $22,000 on a 5-year mortgage. I have $9,000 in liquid savings, $17,000 in investments, and $69,000 in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
Okay, well, I was concerned that maybe I wouldn't be approved, and I've been thinking about doing this anyhow, so I think what I would do is I'm not planning on going until probably February, so I would start collecting some rent from my kids because they're both working, they're both adults, and if I would collect $200 a month from each of them,
that would get you there. Amy, let me make this easy for you. You're denied. I don't care if you collect $400 a month from each of them or $1,000 a month from each of them. You are 49 years of age. You are seriously behind on your retirement. And as much as you want this 1 week away from your kids and to be with your boyfriend, isn't gonna happen, girlfriend. You don't have the money to do it, so don't do it. Naomi, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. I want to buy a Fitbit Flex for $99.
You do, huh? And
yes.
Is that because you've seen other people wearing them and you want one?
No one's wearing them yet. They're all back ordered, so I had plenty of time to call you first.
I got it. All right. So explain to everybody what a Fitbit is.
It is a wristband you wear, and it tracks all your daily activities and monitors your calories burned, your exercise, and I hope it helps me stay motivated.
Yeah, I have a little one that sometimes I wear right here on my bra that counts how many steps I did a day, and I like the one that clips better than these. But anyway, $99. Show me the money.
Okay, my take home is $7,000 a month.
Yep.
My expenses are $4,045 a month, and that includes rent. For debt, I have $7,500 in student loans and a $565 a month car lease. In savings, I have $5,000 liquid, $100 in investments, and $46,000 in retirement.
All right, so, I don't know why you're leasing a car. It is such a waste of money. It concerns me that you have $7,500 of student loan debt. How are you going to pay for this?
I was going to pay for it in the difference in my take home. And
so, girlfriend, here's my problem. It's $99. It's such a little bit amount of money, right? But you only have $5,000 in a fund. Are you kidding me? In like a savings account, and you should have $32,000 in an emergency savings. So a little here, a little there. What difference does it make? It makes a big difference. You are denied. All right, now, time for Can I Afford It, Junior? This is where somebody under the age of 16 calls in and tells me what it is they want to buy. We have Bailey on the air. Bailey, what do you want to buy?
Hi.
Hi, Bailey. What do you want to buy, little sweetheart?
I would like to buy an Xbox 360.
So an Xbox 360 for $199.99. How come you want this?
I would like to get it to play Minecraft, which is a game with blocks where you can create and build things.
And so you like to play things like this, so you'll use it all the time if you get it?
Yes.
All the time. Can you show me the money so I can see if you can afford it?
Okay.
Okay.
My take-home is $28 a month for allowance.
Yes.
I have no expenses. I have no debt. And in savings, I have $90 in my piggy bank, $705 in liquid savings, $756 in CDs, and $8,400 in my college 529 plan.
Yes.
And I also have $125 in gift cards from a store.
And when you think about buying this, how are you going to pay for it?
I'm going to pay for it with the gift cards I got for my birthday and Christmas and the cash from my piggy bank.
And have you ever purchased anything before just because you had the money to do so, and you purchased it, but yet you never really used it?
No.
Never. You use everything that you buy?
Yep.
Yep. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want this?
Probably 10.
Probably a 10. You are approved, girlfriend, because you can afford it. Have fun with it, Bailey. We love you. Want to be part of the Can I Afford It segment, just like Bailey? All you have to do is go to my website, SuzeOrman.com, and you'll find the information that you need to know there to come and play with me right here. And if you are on the air on the Can I Afford It segment, guess what I'm going to send you? Hit it, Robo-Man. Ah, I got it. I'm so glad. We're going to send you a T-shirt, either approved or denied, depending on what I did with you. Next, I tackle trending topics in Ask Suze. Insurance is insurance. Investments are investments, and do not combine the two. It never works out. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are in the control room at CNBC headquarters. Is it starting to look familiar to you? Want to play with me here on the Suze Orman Show? All you have to do is take a look at your screen. So many ways that you can get in touch with us. You can send an email in. You can join me on Facebook. Or if you send a tweet and put hashtag Ask Suze, it comes right to us here. And if we choose it, your tweet will be on the air. Let's see what's trending right now. All right, we have at Bonnie Bratt. My folks are in their mid-50s and are looking into getting a long-term care annuity. They are lost. Please advise. Well, my dear Bonnie Bratt, I'm kind of lost too. A long-term care annuity. How many inventions are these insurance companies going to come up with for you to invest in so that you can have an investment as long with taking care of your long-term care needs? No. In my opinion, again, and I'm going to say this no matter what type of insurance it is, insurance is insurance, investments are investments, and do not combine the two. It never works out. So if they're in their mid-50s and they can afford a regular long-term care insurance policy on its own, and they can afford it not only now, but all the way until they are 84 years of age, expecting probably 20 to 50% of premium increases over those years, then they should buy it. If they cannot afford it long term, it's just a waste of money. So hopefully they won't be so lost when they hear my answer. Let's go to webcam. We're going to Scott in Illinois. Boyfriend, what's your question?
Hi, Suze. I've heard you mention that you should only contribute to your company's 401k up until the matching, which is typically about 6%, and then put any money that you have into your Roth IRA to max that out. Right now, I'm contributing 50% of my salary into my company's 401k. I do have a Roth, but last year I really didn't contribute to it. So I wanted to know, why is it better to pay taxes on the money and then put it into a Roth rather than put it into my company's 401k, which is tax deferred?
Yeah, great question, Scott. Let me ask you, do you think, given the state of our economies, that you are going to be in a higher tax bracket in the future than you are now? Is that probable or possible?
No, I think I'll be in a lower tax bracket.
You do you? Well, I'm here to say I think we have a good probability of everybody being in higher tax brackets to deal with our deficit. So I'm somebody who likes to invest in the known versus the unknown. Given the liquidity of Roth IRAs, meaning you can take out any amount of money you put in without any taxes or penalties, regardless of your age or the time it's been in there. When you do take money out of a Roth, it is totally tax-free. You can leave your money in a Roth IRA as long as you want. You never have to take it out, and you can leave it to your beneficiaries totally income tax-free. I think those benefits are far better in the long run than putting your money in little by little into a 401k that you can't touch until you're 59 and a half years of age. When you do touch it, you pay ordinary income taxes on it. If you need it before you're 59 and a half, you're possibly going to pay a 10% penalty and ordinary income tax. You have to start taking it out by the time you're 70 and a half. And if you leave it to your beneficiaries, when they take it out, they're going to pay ordinary income taxes. So I like tax-free versus tax-deferred. It's really as simple as that. All right, let's go back to the studio, and here's what's coming up next. Amy wants to know, Susie,
how am I doing?
If I were going to give you a grade, are you ready? Remember what you said you were afraid of when you first done and thing, and I would give you a... Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show.
Hi, Susie. I'm 50 and single. I've worked for the federal government for over 25 years, doing my best to live within my means, and I'm really ready to leave behind this daily grind. My goal is to retire at 58 when I can start to collect my pension. I want to enjoy life with friends and family, as well as travel, volunteer, and generally stay active. My biggest fear is that you'll tell me that my way to an A is to work until I'm 67. Please tell me that's not the case. Susie, how am I doing?
Good evening, my dear Amy. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Susie. How are you?
I'm pretty great here. So you want to retire in 8 years so you can have lots of fun with those friends of yours. They look like a lot of fun as well.
Yep.
So here's the thing. If you were going to give yourself a grade, assuming you're going to do everything like you're doing right now for the next 8 years, what grade would you give yourself?
Well, I think I'm doing okay, but I do realize that I want to retire a bit early. And I'm sure you're going to ding me on a few things, but I'm going to give myself a B.
A B. All right, girlfriend, let's show everybody what you got going for yourself. All right, Amy is 50 years of age. She is single. She has about $500,000 in a retirement account, about $35,000 in an emergency fund, $182,000 in investments. She does have a home. Great, worth $440,000 and only owes $87,000 about on it. When you put it all together, we have a millionaire in our presence because Amy has a net worth of about $1,073,000. Loving it so far. Let's take a look at her income versus her expenses. She takes home every single month $4,450. She has monthly expenses of $3,908, and she is able to save $541 per month. Now, my dear Amy, all right, if I were going to give you a grade as to if you can retire in 8 years, I would give you, are you ready? Remember what you said you were afraid of when you first done and thing, and I would give you a B plus, my dear.
Okay.
And why would I give you a B plus? Number one, I think after your home is paid off and you're no longer having that mortgage payment, I still think you're going to need about $3,500 a month or so as a goal for you to have in terms of expenses and everything. But if we take a look at your pension, the money in your 401k plan, your Roth IRA, after taxes, you will have $5,694 of income, which is a considerable amount more, almost $2,000 a month more than you currently need. Now, please listen to me closely here, because you want to retire at 58. And you cannot touch money in a retirement account until normally you are 59 and a half years of age without that 10% penalty. But if you leave the money in a 401k where you are working, as long as you leave service, meaning you've retired, even if they fired you, and you were 55 or older in the year you left service, you can access any money in your 401k plan without that 10% penalty. So just leave that money there, and that's where you will access it. Now, what is your way to an A? Believe it or not, the only reason that I dinged you was because you don't have a living revocable trust. So if you simply got a living revocable trust, you continue to save exactly like you're saving, especially after your home is paid off. Just save that money that you were paying your mortgage with. I want you to take Social Security at either 67 or 70, up to you. 70 is better. So if you just do everything I told you, you are going to be just great. Coming up next, one more thing I want you to know. I love talking to kids about money. They really understand money far more than you think they do. Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. Well, it's almost an end for us here at the Suze Orman Show, but before we go, there's still one more thing I want you to know. You know, one of the greatest joys that I have when I do the Suze Orman Show is when we do Can I Afford It, Junior? I love talking to kids about money. I mean, and they really understand money far more than you think they do. Couldn't you just hear it in Bailey, who is the 10-year-old who called in to want to buy a $199 Xbox? She really understood where her money was and what it was doing.
I have $90 in my piggy bank, $705 in liquid savings, $756 in CDs, and $8,400 in my college 529 plan.
And I find this true no matter where I go. You know, just the other night, I was at dinner with my friends, and they have 4 kids. And their oldest son is about 10 years of age. And I was just curious, and I said, does anybody owe anybody any money at this table? And Patrick, who was the son, says, yeah, Mommy owes me $50. And Mommy looks at him and says, honey, what do I owe you $50 for? And he said, well, you know, Mommy, you took it out of my piggy bank and you've never put it back. And she goes, oh, no, honey, I only took $25 out of your piggy bank for pizza that I ordered for a big dinner we were having. He then gets up. He goes over to where Mommy is sitting and whispers in her ears and says, Mommy, remember we were at the store and I had my money in my pocket and you borrowed $25 for diapers, remember, Mommy? And all of a sudden, Mommy goes, oh my God, you're right. I owe you $50. And then he became happy because Mommy said tomorrow she would pay him back. When you take money from a kid's piggy banks, they know. I don't care where I go. If you have borrowed money from a kid, they know exactly how much you have taken from them. And if you don't pay it back, it literally hurts them. So be careful about money and kids and understand they probably understand money more than some of you do. Now you know. But until next week, there's only one thing that I really want you to understand when it comes to your money, and it is this: people first, then money, then things. Now you stay safe. Bye-bye.